Back in the day, Catholics had very strict rules when it came to fasting before Mass. No food or drink, even water, was allowed between midnight until you received communion the next day. A powerful commitment and act of penance, yes, but admittedly, it was a bit harsh for many people. It's for this reason that over the last 100 years, the Church has lessened the nature of the fast and offered more exceptions than ever before. Why did the rules change, and what does the Church teach today? This is Catholicism in Focus. For as long as anyone can remember, the Church has insisted that a fast from food be observed prior to receiving communion, with evidence of its common practice dating all the way back to the 3rd century. Church leaders like Tertullian and Hippolytus are specifically noted for their insistence on the practice. In his apostolic tradition, Hippolytus writes, "The faithful shall be careful to partake of the Eucharist before eating anything else." It's not known how widespread this custom was at this point in history, but by the end of the 4th century, it was codified into law. Proposed at the Synod of Hippo in 393 and again at the Council of Carthage in 397, fasting before receiving communion became the rule of the Church more than 1600 years ago. So, yeah, it goes way back. Fast forward to the 20th century, and one sees that not only has the law remained in effect, it has become even more strict. While early practices did not specify the length of time one needed to fast or what exceptions could be made, the 1917 Code of Canon Law was very clear. No food or water was allowed from midnight until one received communion the next day. According to that code, those who have not kept the natural fast from midnight are not allowed to receive, except in danger of death or in case it should become necessary to consume the Blessed Sacrament to safeguard it against irreverence. The code goes on in the following line to offer one additional exception for those who are sick, but stipulates that it only applies to those who have been sick for an entire month, and only if their confessor gives them special dispensation. In that case, and only in that case, was medicine ever allowed. So basically, unless you were in mortal danger, were stuck in bed for a month, or the tabernacle was under attack, nothing, not food, not water, not even medicine, was allowed before communion. It didn't matter if you were young or old, healthy or sick, priest or lay, even if you were pregnant or were a child. The rule was the same: fast or don't receive communion. The idea behind the rule was that the Eucharist should be the most important meal that one eats in a day, and so one should not only be spiritually ready, but also physically ready to receive it. If you were going to a great banquet, you wouldn't stop on the way to pick up some cheap fast food. Why then would you eat earthly food prior to celebrating the banquet feast of the Lamb? It was a spiritually powerful practice that had some major practical limitations. Naturally, fasting for the elderly, temporarily sick, pregnant women, and children poses a potentially great problem to one's health. While fasting for a 7 a.m. Mass might be doable on a regular basis, later Masses put a major strain on the weakest of the community. This also posed a problem for the growing number of people who worked at night, far from home, doing grueling labor. They are often forced to seek nourishment, either during or after their shift, excluding them from the following day's Eucharist. Maybe most straining of all was the burden this placed on priests. While fasting from midnight until a 7 a.m. Mass was hardly a sacrifice, many priests would have been expected to celebrate multiple Masses in a day. Missionary priests may have had to travel many, many miles, even having to wait until the afternoon to celebrate a Mass. According to the 1917 Code of Canon Law, they were not only not exempt from the fast in such cases, they were told that any Mass they celebrated after breaking the midnight fast was considered illicit, meaning that they would have been breaking not one, but 2 laws for even having a drink of water before celebrating Mass. Clearly, this was an issue of us serving the Sabbath rather than the Sabbath being created for our benefit, and something needed to be done about it. Having a fast before communion was a part of the tradition of the Church, and so no one suggested removing it completely, but a renewed approach needed to be taken. In 1953, Pope Pius XII began such a process. In an apostolic constitution entitled Christus Dominus, the Pope acknowledged many of the burdensome realities facing the faithful and offered great leniency. Water was now allowed for anyone in any situation. Medicine could be consumed by anyone who was sick, not just those who were bedridden for a month. and priests who were required to celebrate multiple masses or travel a far distance, as well as those lay people burdened by work or travel, could take a beverage outside of 1 hour before Mass, assuming it wasn't alcohol. In 1957, he extended these permissions with Sacram Communionum, a motu proprio that further simplified the law. Now, instead of fasting from midnight, all communicants, priest or lay, were expected to maintain a 3-hour fast from solid foods and a 1-hour fast from water and medicines. To put it mildly, this was a game changer. Besides making it far easier for people to receive communion without undue burden, it opened the door for regular afternoon and evening masses. With only a 3-hour fast required, priests and lay people could eat lunch, wait at least 3 hours, and then celebrate a Mass in the evening. With a midnight fast in place, this was essentially never a possibility, but now those working overnight or early morning shifts could comfortably go to Mass on a Sunday, or even daily Mass, in the evening. Permissions were extended even further by Pope Paul VI in 1964, designating a common 1-hour fast for all food and beverage, and allowing priests to consume beverages between multiple Masses, even if within an hour from communion. In 1973, he added to this by requiring the sick to fast for only 15 minutes prior to communion. All of this culminated in what is contained in the 1983 Code of Canon Law, the current law of the Church. Canon 919 states, "A person who is to receive the Most Holy Eucharist is to abstain for at least 1 hour before Holy Communion from any food and drink, except for only water and medicine. A priest who celebrates the Most Holy Eucharist 2 or 3 times on the same day can take something before the second or third celebration, even if there is less than an hour between them. The elderly, the infirm, and those who care for them can receive the Most Holy Eucharist even if they have eaten something within the preceding hour." In other words, fasting is important, but it should never be a reason to miss communion. And really, I think that those 2 points are really what matters in all this. Despite the growing laxity over the years in the practice, the Church has always maintained an insistence on fasting before communion. This is not an option, and it's not something to easily dismiss. For more than 1,600 years, maybe even back to our Jewish roots, we've understood the importance of preparing our bodies for something holy. But we also know that what we receive is holy and worth receiving, whether or not we are pure enough to receive it. While the significance of fasting should not be dismissed, and many may rightly insist on a return to even greater measures, it should never be a reason to turn down an experience of the real presence of Christ. I mean, come on, people. When the rules are this flexible, taking into account so many of life's difficulties and offering so many exceptions, there is no reason why anyone should have to choose between the two. We can all handle this fast, and so we can all receive with at least some sense of preparing not just our souls, but also our bodies as well.